Now let us continue solid state. In this magnetism we will take a ferromagnetic substance. Ferromagnetic substance. Now we will take a ferromagnetic substance. This ferromagnetic substance, over the ferromagnetic substance, we'll keep the magnet and we will draw the magnet like this. Like this we'll do it. So again we'll keep the magnet like over this and we'll draw the magnet like this. So pull the magnet over this ferromagnetic substance many times you do it. Many times you have to repeat like this. On repeating plenty of times, how the alignment of domains will be there. How the alignment of domains will be there in the ferromagnetic substance. How the alignment of domains will be there in the ferromagnetic substance, do you say? So ferromagnetic substance you are taking, you are taking the magnet and keeping over this and pulling the magnet over the ferromagnetic substance many times you are doing. Due to that, what happens to the alignment of domains in the ferromagnetic substance? Alignment of domains in the ferromagnetic substance will be arranged in a particular order, or domains alignment will be random. What do you say? Alignment of domains in particular order shall we say, or a random arrangement shall we say? What do you say? What is a alignment? What about alignment of domains? What about alignment of domains in the ferromagnetic substance after a magnet is placed over ferromagnetic substance and pulled many times? Now, what is the alignment of domains? What about the alignment of domains? Do you say? What about the alignment of domains in the ferromagnetic substance? Do you say particular order or do you say random? Which one do you say? So shall we say particular order? Sir. So we are saying a particular order. That means a regular order. Domains are arranged in a regular order. Sir. So now in the ferromagnetic substance, domains will see. In the ferromagnetic substance, domains alignment will take. So it is a domain, one domain alignment, second domain, third domains. Domains are arranged in a particular order like this. So now the alignment of domains, is it like magnet? Now alignment of domains in this ferromagnetic substance became like a magnet. Then will you say this substance? Now this substance became magnet. Will you say this substance became magnet? Do you say or not? Since the alignment of domains in this substance became like magnet, this substance became permanent magnet. So we can convert ferromagnetic substance into what means a permanent magnet. We can convert ferromagnetic substance into what means a permanent magnet. We can convert. So next, what about ferrimagnetism? Ferrimagnetic substance can be converted into paramagnetic substance on heating. Ferrimagnetic substance on heating converts into paramagnetic substance. Okay, so regarding this magnetism, what is the conclusion of magnetism? That we'll see. One is paramagnetic substance. Paramagnetic substance means unpaired electrons will be present. If unpaired electrons present, then we can say paramagnetic substance. Next we will say diamagnetic substance. Diamagnetic substance means unpaired electrons not present. Then we will say ferromagnetic substance. Ferromagnetic substance. Ferromagnetic substance means here domains. Domains we have take. Domains are aligned in such a way that net magnetic moment is there. Net magnetic moment is there. It will attract strongly the magnet. It will attract strongly the external magnet. External magnet we can say. It will attract external magnet strongly. It will attract external magnet strongly. Then this ferromagnetic substance can be converted into permanent magnet. Ferromagnetic substance can be converted into permanent magnet, we can say. Next we will say ferrimagnetism. Ferrimagnetic substance. Next we are taking ferrimagnetic substance. Here domains are arranged such that domains are aligned such that net magnetic moment will be there. This will attract external magnet weakly. It will attract external magnet weakly. It will attract. Now this ferrimagnetic substance on heating can be converted into paramagnetic substance. Next one is antiferromagnetism. Antiferromagnetic substance. Here domains will be arranged such that net magnetic moment will be 0. Net magnetic moment will be 0. Now we will see example for these substances. We will see for antiferromagnetic substance example is what means MnO we can say. For a ferrimagnetic substance, example is Fe3O4 and ferrites we can say. Ferrites example Mg Fe2O4 and Zn Fe2O4. Then ferromagnetic substance. Ferromagnetic substance example is what means iron, cobalt, nickel, gadolinium F block element, then CrO2, chromium dioxide. These are ferromagnetic substance we can say. So okay, so conclusion is ferromagnetic substance is attracted strongly by the magnet. This can be converted into permanent magnet. Ferrimagnetic substance are weakly attracted by the magnet. It can be converted into paramagnetic substance on heating. Antiferromagnetic substance means their domains are arranged such that net magnetic moment will be 0. For this example is what means MnO. This is about magnetism. This is about magnetism. Next we will go for radius ratio. Next we will go for radius ratio. Radius ratio topic will go. Now, what is the necessity of this radius ratio means how radius ratio, what is the necessity? Now, if we know radius of cation and radius of anion, then we can say which is coming under which type of lattice, whether it is octahedral, whether octahedral, otherwise tetrahedral, otherwise cubic void, otherwise triangular void, that we can come to know it. If you know radius of cation and radius of anion, which can be occupied in which void, that idea we can get it. Now, if you know radius of cation and radius of anion, then which void can be occupied? Suppose what is a given value means radius of anion is given, radius of cation is given. Then the question is what means cation can occupy which void? Cation can occupy which void? It is the question. Radius of anion is given, radius of cation is given, then cation can occupy which void? Whether cation can occupy octahedral void or tetrahedral void or cubic void or triangular void, which void cation can occupy? Which void cation can occupy? It is the question. Okay, so by knowing the radius of anion and radius of cation, cation can occupy which void, that we can come to know it. So anion and cation is given means this is which one in the sense ionic compound. For ionic compound only anion and cation we can say. So for ionic compounds, if you know anionic radius and cationic radius, then we can say cation can occupy which void. Mostly cations will be in the voids, anions will forming lattice. Sometimes reverse also possible. Cations forming lattice, anions occupying void. That is also possible. Generally, if you see anions making lattice, cations occupying the void. Sir. So now we are going for what case in the sense we are going for ionic compounds. In the ionic compounds, radius of anion and radius of cation is given. Using this, cation can occupy which void, that we are coming to know it. For which what is required in the sense radius ratio. So how to define radius ratio? Radius ratio is defined as radius of cation by radius of anion. Radius ratio is defined as radius of cation by radius of anion. Sir. Now, how to judge this? How to say this one for which we will consider octahedral void. Then we will derive radius ratio. Then we will come to this question. We will come. Okay. So first we will take octahedral void for which radius ratio we will derive. Then we will come back to this question. Okay. So now we are going for radius ratio for octahedral void. So for that we will take octahedron. We'll take octahedron. We'll take octahedron. Now we will consider anion. Anion forms a lattice. That means anion forms a octahedron. Anion forms a octahedron, we can say. Okay, then we will say cation. Cation occupies octahedral void. Cation occupies octahedral void, we can say. Okay, so we are taking octahedron. In this octahedron, we are saying anion forms a lattice. For example, FCC lattice or HCP lattice, we can say. That means anion forms a octahedron. Anion forms octahedron. Cation occupies a octahedral void, like this we'll take. Then we will take another assumption. Anion is in contact with neighboring anion. Okay, this is another assumption. Anion just in contact with the neighboring anion, like this will take. Because some cases, if you see anion contact will not be there between neighboring anions. Between neighboring anions, there won't be any contact at all. Like this also possible. But anion electron clouds interpenetrating is not possible at all. Anion electron cloud interpenetrating will give instability. So how the anions should be there in the ionic compound means anions can be just in contact. Otherwise, between anions, some gap should be there. Between anions, some gap should be there. Like this only anions should be there. But anions electron cloud should not interpenetrate with each other. That will give higher repulsion to the system. That will give instability to the system. So how the anions should be there in the ionic compound means neighboring anions just be in contact. Otherwise, neighboring anions should be left with some gap. Between neighboring anions, some gap should be there. Between neighboring anions, some gap should be there. Like this should be there anions in the ionic compound. So, then how the cation should be there? Neighboring anions should be in contact with cation. Should be in contact with cation. Neighboring anions should be in contact with a cation. Neighboring anion should be in contact with a cation in the ionic compound. So in the ionic compound, how the anions and how the cations should be there, we got an idea. This condition not only for octahedron, for whatever the ionic compound, for whatever the lattice, for whatever the either tetrahedron or a cubic void, whatever the void you take, like this only should be there. Okay, so what is the conclusion? In the ionic compounds, neighboring anions just be in contact possible. Otherwise, some gap is possible, but neighboring anions should not interpenetrate with each other. Then how with the cation? Neighboring anions should be in contact with the cation. Okay, neighboring anions should be in contact with the cation. So now we are taking what condition in the sense anion is in contact, just contact with another anion. Anion is in just contact with the neighboring anion will take, and neighboring anions are in contact with the cation will take. So now we will take octahedron. First we will draw octahedron, we will draw it. So first we are drawing octahedron. For drawing octahedron, first we will take square. We will take a square, we will take first we took square. Then square we took so we'll take a one line, next line, third, next we'll draw okay, four line the we took like this. Next we'll keep constituent particles, we'll keep constituent particles, one particle here, one particle here, one particle here, one particle here, like this four particles we took. Four particles we took. For octahedron we need 6 particles, so one particle will keep up, one particle will keep down. Okay, we placed 6 particles we placed. Now we will join them. We'll join these particles will join. Okay, now let me join this particle and this particle. Then let me join this particle and this particle. 2 particles I join. Okay, so I joined 2 particles. So I joined 2 particles. I got one triangle. I got. Sorry. Next I will join this particle and this particle. I will join. Okay, I got a triangle. Okay, I got a triangle. Next I will join this particle and this particle. I got a triangle. So I got like this. How many triangles I got? You see that we got 4 triangles we got. Next down, and from down particle we'll draw so next we will draw Another line. Okay, we got a triangle. We got triangle like this. Next triangle we will draw. Next triangle we drew. Next we will take another triangle. Another triangle. Okay. So like this we drew. Now have we got octahedron or not? You see, have we got octahedron? Here 8 triangles are there. Is it octahedron? Here 8 triangles are there. Is it octahedron? Sir, we got octahedron. Octahedron we got. So to get octahedron, here first 4 particles here square, above one, below one, like this we took. Okay. So this octahedron, in this octahedron, we'll take that square only. We'll take. So first one particle I will keep like this. Next particle I will keep. Sorry. Next particle I will keep. So next particle will take. So next particle we placed 4 particles we considered. 4 particles we considered. Okay. 4 particles we took, above one particle and below one particle, like this will be there. Next we will draw octahedral void. Octahedral void we will write. In the octahedral void we will keep one particle. We will keep octahedral void, one particle we will keep. Okay. In octahedral void we placed one particle. Okay. So now we will consider Now we will consider this is anion. This is anion. This one is what means cation. This one is what means cation. Like this we will get it. Okay. Here see anions are just in contact. Anions are in contact with the cation. Like this is there. Next we will take from this center point. We will draw a line to this center point. Then from this center point, we will draw a line to this center point. Then from this center point, we will draw a line to this center point. Okay, we drew like this. Now we will take this is A. This we will take it as A. This we will take it as B. This is we will take it as C. Now we will take triangle ABC. So for triangle ABC, we will say AC square equal to AB square plus BC square. We will take AC is called 2 times radius of anion plus 2 times radius of cation. Do you agree? AC is called 2 times radius of anion. This is AC is called 2 times radius of anion and 2 times radius of cation. AC. AB is called 2 times radius of anion. AB is called 2 times radius of anion. BC is called 2 times radius of anion. BC is called 2 times radius of anion. Okay. Now we will simplify this one. We will simplify this one. Then on simplifying this one, we will get what means radius of cation by radius of anion. We will get that is how much means 0.414. We got radius of cation by radius of anion. That is how much means 0.414. When means when the condition is neighboring anions. Neighboring anions are in just contact. Are in just contact with each other. Just contact with each other. Then anions are in just contact with the cation. It is a condition. Okay. So now see, this is for what means for octahedral. For octahedral. In the octahedral, we took that square we took and we are saying. Okay. So in this square, we took this octahedron. In this octahedron, neighboring anions are in just contact with each other. Anions are in just contact with the cation. If we take like this, then radius of cation by radius of anion is equal to 0.414. This ratio is called what means radius ratio. This ratio is called what means radius ratio, we can say. This ratio is called radius ratio. Now you say that, when there is a gap between anions, how the radius ratio will be there? Will it be greater than 0.414? Will it be less than 0.414? Or will it be equal to 0.414? What do you say? In this octahedron, when anions are in just, okay, you are saying that radius ratio become greater. So radius ratio become greater, you are saying. So if gap between anions go on increases, then shall we say radius ratio increases from 0.414. Goes on increasing. Radius ratio goes on increasing from 0.414. When radius ratio when radius ratio becomes 0.732, because it is increasing, no, it goes on increasing. When it is attaining 0.732, what is the geometry? What is the geometry? Will it be octahedron or some other? Will it be octahedron or some other? When the radius ratio becomes 0.732, geometry will be stick on to octahedron or geometry will become some other. Geometry will become some other. That means because of gap, since gap is increasing, in that gap some more anions may come. In that gap, what happens means some more anions are coming. Some more anions are coming in the sense, then it becomes what means cubic void. It becomes what means cubic void, sir. So now we will see that cubic void, how that cubic void will be there. That point we'll see. How that cubic void will be there. That we'll see. Okay, this is a cube you took. In this cube, we will give surrounding particles. Corners, in the corners, we will give the particles. So one particle here. In the corners, we will give the particles. In the corners, we give the particles. And in the body center, we will give the particle. In the body center, we will give the particle. So here, in the body center, particle is there. This is what means anion will take, body center will take cation. Otherwise, vice versa. This corners anion will take, body center will take it as cation. So how it should be there means first condition neighboring anions just in contact with each other, just in contact, it is a condition. Next, all the anions should contact with cation, just in contact with cation, it is a condition. Okay, that condition we took. So what is the condition means neighboring anions just in contact. Next condition is all the anions are just in contact with a cation, like this, it is a condition. So now we will see. This is this we will call it as what means cubic void. We will say cubic void, otherwise body center, like this you can say cubic void. Now we want to come to know this cubic void. We want to come to know. For that, what we have to do? For that, in what way we will do? What we will do in the sense, we will take this A, we will take this B, we will take this C. This ABC triangle we will take. We will take what triangle in the sense ABC triangle we will take. Okay, ABC triangle we are taking. In this ABC triangle, what is there means this cation is there, like this we will take. Okay, so we will take ABC triangle. Okay, triangle ABC we will take. So first we will take a particle. So we will take a particle. We will take. Okay, we took a particle. Then we will take B particle. We will take. We took B particle. Then we will take C particle. Okay, we took C particle. Okay, now we what are the things we took means ABC we took. So we took particle A, particle B, particle C. Now we will take cubic void. Cubic void will take cubic void. Okay, this is what means cubic void. This is what means cubic void. Cubic void in the sense body center like this. Now we will join, we'll take center points, we'll take center points from this A center point to B center point. Then B center point to C center point. Then this A and C will join. A and C will join. Okay. Now we will take triangle. Now we will take AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square will take. Okay, we took like this. Now here we took like this. Is it correct? We took like this. Is it correct? Here it is wrong. Why? Because A and B will not be in contact now. A and B will not be in contact. Anions, neighboring anions are just in contact. It is correct. But A and B won't be in contact now. A and B won't be in contact. These two anions will be in contact, but A and B will not be in contact. Therefore, first we have to find a AB distance. We have to find a, then only we can come for this. Sorry. So AB distance we have to find first. We have to come for AB distance, then only we can come to this point. Sorry. So first we want AB. So to know AB, what we have to do? Sorry. So now we will take this is ABC. First ABC will take. Now triangle ABC will take triangle ABC. In this triangle ABC, AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square will take. So AC is equal to square root of AB square will take as a AB will take as a edge length A square, edge length A square will take. So it will come as what means square root of 2A. This is AC. AC is how much we got. Okay. So AC is equal to how much means square root of 2A. Sorry. So we got a AC value we got. Next we will go for ACD. Now we will take triangle ACD. We will take triangle ACD. We will take. Sorry. How this triangle ACD will be there in the sense? First we will take A. We took A. We took. Then we will take what means D. We will take. We will take what means D. We will take what means